So the fact that Rishi Sunak went all the way and couldn't even produce a proof of life for the family to know that Alaa is alive, that Alaa has not deteriorated beyond a point of recovery, or worse, that he did not die, makes us even more concerned, and makes us think that the Egyptian government is not taking the concern of the UK government over Alaa's health and life seriously.
Concerns are growing for the British Egyptian writer Alaa Abd El-Fattah. He's in jail in Egypt and is now refusing water after being on a hunger strike for some time. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said he'd raised the case with the Egyptian president. Labour's David Lammy says we should use our trade with Egypt as leverage to help get him released. Let's speak to his sister Mona Sif. She's on the line now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Many of us have been watching this story for some time now. It's been reported in the Times almost every day. When did your brother start his hunger strike, his latest hunger strike?
So his hunger strike started back on April 2nd, and he has been ongoing with his hunger strike. Mostly it was a partial hunger strike with him taking 100 calories a day in a form of a spoon of honey or skimmed milk to sustain his hunger strike for as long as possible and help us push with the campaign as much as we can. But recently, in his latest letter last week on Monday, he wrote to us that he's escalating to a full hunger strike. And with the beginning of COP27, which is currently happening in Egypt, he's escalating to water strike. So Alaa has stopped drinking water since Sunday, and today is day 5 of his water strike after months of partial hunger strike, and now a completely full hunger strike.
This must be so. I can't imagine. This must be so awful for you. Did you know that he was going to go on a water strike?
Yes, it is awful for me. This is a very difficult time for my family. We knew that eventually this would be the last thing in Alaa's mind, and it would be the last attempt for Alaa to push for his release. We never knew when it was coming, and we were trying very hard to focus and to encourage the British government really to intervene on his behalf firmly before we reached that point. But sadly, this did not happen. Alaa has been in prison for 9 years. He has endured so much. Last year, he went through a phase where he was expressing suicidal thoughts. He is now in a slightly better state because he feels like there's a whole fight happening for him all over the world. But he has told us clearly a couple of months ago that he cannot endure another year in this prison, and the Egyptian regime seems intent on keeping Alaa in prison for as long as they are in power. Every time he finishes a sentence, they somehow drum up a new case, and he ends up being in jail again.
And what was he jailed for initially, and what have these drummed up charges consisted of?
So technically, right now, he is spending 5 years in prison and is accused of falsely spreading rumors and news that harm national security and misuse of social media. It is particularly because he shared a post someone else wrote about the deteriorating conditions in Egyptian prisons and about the death of a political prisoner in 2019.
Now, in terms of political interventions, Rishi Sunak he's raised the case with the Egyptian president. Labour's David Lammy says that we should use our trade with Egypt as leverage to help. What do you think of both of those interventions?
When Rishi Sunak wrote to us before going to COP27, wrote to the family and assured us that Alaa's case is a high priority, we had high hopes for her visit. Honestly, I'm extremely disappointed and now even more terrified, because the fact that our Prime Minister went all the way to Sharm el-Sheikh, stood with abdel-fattah, al-sisi, talked about Alaa, and returned to the UK without even managing to secure consular access to Alaa or get us a proof of life. We have not heard a word of Alaa since his letter in October 31st. My mother has been going every day for the past 4 days now to the prison, spending all day there waiting for a letter or any kind of proof of life, and we aren't getting any. So the fact that Rishi Sunak went all the way and couldn't even produce a proof of life for the families to know that Alaa is alive, that Alaa has not deteriorated beyond a point of recovery, or worse, that he did not die. Makes us even more concerned, and makes us think that the Egyptian government is not taking the concern of the UK government over Alaa's health and life seriously. I'm very glad for David Lammy's intervention. He is my MP. And honestly, I don't understand why until that moment the trade deals between Egypt and the UK has not been used to secure Alaa's release and save him before it's too late, and why the diplomatic and the business relationships between the UK and the Egyptian government is ongoing and flourishing, despite them keeping a UK citizen from consular access, from legal assistance, and from all his legal rights, and basically pushing him to death.
Mona, thank you so much for talking to us. I know this is, I mean, it must just, every morning must be so difficult for you. Thank you for talking to us. That's Mona Sif. She is Alaa Abd El-Fattah's sister. And I mean, the next time that we speak to anyone from the government, especially perhaps the Foreign Secretary, we'll make sure that we raise that with them. Thank you, Mona.